new application. Okay. So every time a new application is there, and then every time there will be a new complexity. So now let me start. Let me share my screen. Let me know once my screen is visible.
Actually, I have one quick question. Are you working somewhere right now, or you're in the training field?
I'm the training field.
Okay.
May I know the like Intune's perspective, this course is suitable for who is looking for Intune?
See, obviously, if you are also doing an Intune thing, Intune training, or you are going to migrate from SCCM to Intune, so packages will be there, right, for the Windows. So obviously, it's a mixture of both. Packaging is also required, plus Intune is also required. Both are required. So it will be means like benefit for you if you are having both the knowledge together, because most of the organization are means like consisting of packaging and SSM deployment, or packaging or Intune deployment. So SCCM, we know that in few years that will also go out of the market, and Intune is already, many people have uh, transitioned to Intune already. So it's a benefit only, because obviously when you are creating a deployment, you need the packages, and the packages will be delivered by the application packaging team.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, what is application packaging and how we are going to do it? What are the benefits and disadvantage of doing a packaging activity? So first of all, packaging, if I say, it is a customizing applications according to the user's requirement. So as we are working in an IT organization, we have a client, or we have a self organization where we have to do the packaging for our organization itself. So in that case, every organization have a different standard which we have to maintain for defining our application in a different way. So let's take an example for a Chrome application. You have a Chrome application, but for that also there is some what to say, there is some standard. Like, you don't few organizations says that we don't want the shortcut of Chrome application in a desktop, we don't want the uh, uninstall button or repair button to be visible in the control panel. So that all are the basic customization which we do it. There are more than that, but now I'm talking about only the basic customization. For an example, I'll show you. So appwiz.cpl is a command to open the control panel. So let's take an example of a Google Chrome. So if you can see the Google Chrome, only uninstall button is visible. So as per the standard of an organization, they say that uninstall button should be removed from the control panel, so that the user cannot uninstall it by themselves. So this is one of the standard which most of the company follow it. Mostly they hide the uninstall, they hide the modify or change, and they only keep the repair. And in few organization it is something like they hide it, they hide everything. So there are three basically buttons. Let me show you if it is visible for one of the application. Hmm. See, here it is three: uninstall, change, repair. So this three is mainly available for all the application. So uninstall means it will uninstall the application. Change means it will change its type. And then is the repair is one of the feature of an application. Like if the application is corrupted, in that case you can repair the application. Like you are launching the application and it is not working, then in that case, if you repair the application, if any of the files which are by mistakenly deleted by anyone or it got corrupted, then it will repair that file and that file will come in that original place. So this is the feature of repair, and it plays a very important role in the packaging part, because most of the time, as you people are working in SCCM, we get such type of issue where it says that application is not working. So we do uninstall and then we install it and we see whether it is working or not. Before that, you try with the repair. Sometimes it works with the repair, but then again, there is a special functionality of a repair thing which comes in the background, which I will explain when we will move forward, because it is one of the main important topic of repair. So what we are doing it is application repackaging, but it is called as application packaging. So a person, a developer who creates the source file, like who creates the Google Chrome, who has created the Google Chrome or any such type of application. Let's take a VLC application or any application. That person, that developer who has created the coding and all that, that is the application packager. And what we do is the repackaging. We are taking that package who has been created by the developer, and we are editing, we can say editing, modifying. So we do that thing. So we are a application repackager. So we bundle the application and OS into a single file, which we say it as a distribution unit. It can be either in the form of MSI or in the form of exe, which makes us very easy to deploy and install it in a user's computer, and it can be to the end number of users. So are you people aware of the source file?
Like if I talk about,
Yeah, yes.
sorry, please.
Yeah, please go ahead.
If I talk like if we talk about Chrome, like everybody know that Chrome is free. Like as an example, I'm talking and like Chrome. So we can download the Chrome .msi file, and uh, then it can be repackaged as per the requirement. Right?
See, most of the source file are free only. Only few applications, like we can say Adobe Acrobat, Adobe Reader, that is the license one.
Mhm.
I will say that 80% of applications are free, only 20% of applications are not free. Okay, but that is not the thing that you can download it and you can install it. Uh, it is the customizing, it is the standard which you have to follow for your organization. When I will explain you that how the standard goes, then you go to your organization applications and you will see that yes, they have been following that standard, and that standard is there for all the applications, and that we have to maintain. Like if you are packaging for a client, so you have to maintain that client standard, that yes, there should be something related to that client information that says that we are the owner of this application. HCL is not the owner of the organization of that application. So that is how it goes.
So I have
But mainly I am asking, are you people aware of the source file? What is source file?
say I have a question regarding source file. Like if I talk about my organization, like daily
Hmm.
we get the application, we do the deployment, like production deployment, I do it, right?
Hmm.
So in UAT and testing all is done by packages. As I've told you, there are 4 packages in my program.
Hmm.
So like if I talk about, I'll give you a few examples. Like there are few applications like Notepad plus plus, like my Eclipse, and there are a lot of applications, you know. So my question is, like if I take about as an example, I'm not sure whether you heard about my Eclipse as an example.
Hmm.
So
I know that is something connected to the portal and all
yeah,
that.
yes. So from where they're getting that source file, like I've seen that they get the request, they get one Word file where all the requirements are mentioned.
Hmm.
I've seen that
Hmm.
file, But
Hmm.
who has developed this source file? Like, if as an example, if I talk about Chrome is developed by Google developer. Like, the
Hmm.
Google has
Hmm.
developed the Chrome, and they have provided free of cost. Anyone can
Hmm.
download. So if I talk about in my organization, I'm not sure from where that source file is coming. So
Okay. Okay, I'll explain. Basically, when we do the packaging, like I said, different organization have a different standard. So I will first explain you the flow, how the flow goes on. Okay. My screen is visible, right?
yes, just to
Okay.
conclude myself, like, what I have seen, that they get the
Mm-hmm.
source file. Like,
Mm-hmm.
once the users request for any application, that request goes uh, to the to the client,
Mm-hmm.
and the packager who package this application, they get the source file, and they get all the requirements in the Word file. And after
Yes.
that, they use some tool. I won't remember the name of those tools.
Mm-hmm.
So they use that tool. They
Mm-hmm.
fulfill all the requirement. They
Mm-hmm.
perform all the testing on few users in UAT.
Mm-hmm.
But my question is, like, who has developed the source
Yeah.
of that application? That is something.
Okay, I will explain. So, as I said, that there is someone who is developing it. That is called as
Yes.
application packaging. So, there are n number of applications, n number of vendor. We say vendor or we say publisher. So, if you see this in control panel, we have an application. This is the application name, like Admin Studio. But this publisher is the Flexera, is the vendor.
Excellent.
Yeah. So like your question is who is creating that
Source file.
application, right? Source file. So
Yes.
for this application, if I talk about publisher Flexera, so for Admin Studio application is developed by Flexera publisher, so they owns it, they have the license, so they are the one who will give you the source file. Like Admin Studio is the license application. So if you need that application, if you want to buy it, we have a trial version. But if you want to own that, then you have to buy the license from Flexera. So any issues, anything, any problem if you are getting while installing that Flexera application, so you have to contact the publisher, that is the Flexera. Like you said, for Eclipse, as much as I remembered, for Eclipse the vendor name is also a Eclipse. So the vendor is also have application name is also an Eclipse, and the vendor is also an Eclipse. So Eclipse is the vendor and the manufacturer who is creating that application. So there are few free applications and there are few license application. So when we get a request, we get a Word file, so that Word file is known as PRF or PIF. So let me explain you the flow, uh, where I will discuss how it goes
Yeah,
on.
sure. You can go with your flow. Like,
Yeah.
just I have whatever question I
So
have,
you
I'll
have
ask
a
in this one.
clarity of this,
I have
that
bit idea. I have bit
Hana,
idea. So
no,
you can go with the flow, because we have
no, no,
other team
I'm
members as
just
well.
telling you, like, the question which you asked, did you got an answer that it is the vendor who is creating that? So every
Yes,
application has a different vendor. So those are the vendor who is creating that. How you are going to install, how you are going to download the source file, I will give you an example of all that. Okay.
got it.
Excuse me. So first of all, how we are going to get a request. So it depends upon which tool your organization is using. So first is the tool. It can be ServiceNow, it can be Jira, it can be any tool. The other way, there are 2 to 3 ways uh, which organization gives their source file to their packager. The other way is through mail. Then is the SharePoint. That's it. So these are the 3 way via which you can get a request to do the packaging. It can be either through a SharePoint, they will upload the source file, or they will upload that Word file which Hemant was saying. Then they can drop you a mail with the requirement, that this is the requirement, and they have to provide you the Word file which will have all the details. And then is the third one is the tool. the tool can be anything, ServiceNow, Jira, anything. It can be sorry for that. So it can be any tool through which you will get request. It can be either a service task, it can be a task, it cannot be a incident, but it can be a service task, SC task. We have a task, then we have a request, REQ, we have RITM. So anything it can be, depends upon how your organization has created the flow of their packaging. So this is how you get a request. Now after this, how you are going to do the packaging, it depends upon the standard has been set by your organization. As I have an experience of multiple organizations, so I will tell you the multiple ways through which we used to do it. So first is we got a request. Basically, I have been we have been getting all through way. We have got our request and we have created the application. So once we have we have got the IRATM, we have first done the minor validation of the application. So if I talk about the minor validation of the application, we check few things. So minor validation, or we can say assessment. So we first check the PRF, which Hemant was saying. It is a it will be in a word form, but we call it as PRF, which is the package request form. Package. I will show you also how it looks. I have it handy. So after this, I will explain you the flow and then I will show you how it looks like. Then the other is PIF. Anything you can call. Both are same. Some people call it PRF, package request form. Other people call it PIF, which is package information file. So you got the request. You as a packager, first you will be doing the minor validation and assessment. So first what you will be seeing, you will be seeing whether that PRF or PIF is provided by the user or not. And then you have to open the PRF and you have to see that whether he has provided all details or not. If I talk about all details, it should have first the source file. The source file for Windows application. Then the second one, it should have the details of how you are going to install an application. Because you as a packager, you are not aware that how different application is getting installed. You will be knowing few application which you are working on monthly basis, but for all the application you will be not knowing that which option you have to select, because application has different options to select. So in that case you should have a detail of application installation and how it goes. They have to provide the screenshot of how the application is getting installed. So they have to provide every screenshot of that application. So it should be a detailed one. Screenshot. Then you have to see that for how many users that application is there. So that is also an important part, because for few organization it is something that if the number of user is less, that is less than 5, then we have to go for a manual installation. If the number is more than 5 or 10, then we have to go through an packaging through an SCCM. So if it is 5, mostly we don't do the packaging, but again it depends upon your organization. But we suggest for 5, if the number of user is only 5, then we go for a manual installation, because obviously it is little time taking if you have to do it for uh, so many users. And if it is less users and the application is not so huge, then go for a manual installation. Then in that case, again we have to create a manual document. 5 or more, then we go for a physical installation, which we say through SCCM. So in the minor validation, you saw that the source file is provided or not. How where they will be providing the source file, it will be any of your server path where they will upload it. That will be common to all the users who will be having an access to that location, and you have to go and check whether the source file is provided there or not. In few company, it is like they upload it in the ticket itself. If the size of the source file is less, then they attach it in the ticket itself. But mostly, because the size will be huge only, then they provide it in the server path. After this, you have to see, you have to pick the source file, and you have to see whether that source file is installed, getting installed or not, as per the screenshot provided in the application, in the PRF. So mostly it happens that for few application it is not working, source file is not getting installed in your system, maybe due to any number of reasons. For few application, it is something that you cannot test it in your environment, because your environment is different and the user who is using the environment is little different. So in that case, it goes a little different way. And in this case, where it is getting installed, then in that case, you have tested that application is getting installed fine. Then the shortcut you have to launch, you have to see whether the shortcut is getting launched or not. Then you have to check the uninstallation, if it is working or not. If it is, everything is working fine, then you can start your packaging process. Then this, what I have told you, this is known as a smoke testing process, where you have to install the application. Packager has to install an application, and then they have to launch the shortcut, check the clean uninstallation. Many things you have to check the number of files and folders, check the uninstallation registry path. So this is called as a smoke testing, where you have to first install the application, you have to launch the shortcut and see whether the application is working fine or not. You have to check whether the application is performing a clean uninstallation or not. If it is not performing the clean uninstallation, you have to capture the files and folders which is not getting deleted after the uninstallation. You have to check the number of files and folders which that application is installing, and then you have to check the uninstallation registry path which is required to delete uninstall the application. You also have to check the target location where the application is installing. So once that is done, you have captured all the details, then you will be doing the packaging. If I say packaging, you will be, as per the source file behavior, you have to create the package, and then you have to create the script. So once you have created the script, then you are going to test the application via script. So once you have installed the application via script, now you have captured that how many files and folders were getting installed. So now you have to compare that exactly the same files and folders are getting installed or not via script when you are doing it, because that is what you are going to give the script for the SCCM deployment. So check that, check the files and folders, check the shortcut is getting launched or not, everything is as per the source file or not. So once that is done, then you have to check the uninstallation also, same via script. You have to check that it is doing the clean uninstallation or not. So once the manual, we say it as a manual testing, this is the manual testing via script. So once the manual testing via script is done, then you are going to create the deployment via SCCM or Intune. So you will create a deployment via SCCM or Intune, and then again you will do the testing via SCCM, because obviously manual testing behavior or SCCM testing behavior, sometimes it gets defer. So you have to make sure that it is not getting defer, because when you are installing via manual, you have an admin access, but when you are installing via SCCM, the user will not have an admin access. So same way, when you are deploying it to your device ID or your user ID should not have the admin access. You have to check it as a normal user. Then you will come to know that whether like a normal user, you are able to use it through a SCCM or through normal user. Excuse me once. So when you are installing through SCCM, that is through a normal user, then you will come to know whether a normal user for whom you have created the application, whether they will be able to use it in a that way or not. So once the deployment via SCCM or Intune is done, you have tested the application through SCCM in your test VMs. Then goes the QA part. QA is quality assurance. So again, this depends upon organization standard. Few people have a QA team, few people do not have a QA team. So QA team is something, is the application packager team only, but they have few seniors who will just do the testing of how you have created the application, whether that application is behaving as per the standard or not, whether the application functionality is same or not, because you have customized the application. So they will first test through the source file, then they will test it through the via script, and then they will also test it through the SCCM. So this is the uh, thing which has to be done by a QA person. QA, they can be a different QA team in your company. It can be a senior person of your team member in a application packaging team who is dedicated for a QA team, or it can be a peer to peer also, that you one person in your team is creating a packaging, so other person is doing the QA. So it depends upon how your manager has defined that. uh, I think, okay, admit. Okay, so that is how the QA thing is done. So QA person will tell whether that application is pass or fail. When we say pass or fail, if it has met all the standard, then it will be pass, and if it has not met all the standard, or there is some mistake, or the application is not launching or not behaving as it is, then they will say that it is fail, and again it will come to a packager, then packager has to remodify it. Okay, so this is how the QA thing done. If the QA gets pass, then it goes to the SCCM team. So the packager will mail SCCM team, or it can also like transfer the ticket to the SCCM team. that they say that if we have done the application installation and all that, now you have to do the pilot testing or production testing. So yes, so now it will goes to the SCCM team. If you if your organization has the SCCM team, if it is not having the SCCM team and you only have to do it, then you have to drop a mail to the requester saying that we have completed that this application. For the pilot purpose, we need at least 5 machine where we want to test this application. So they will provide you the 5 machine where you have to deploy the application to all those 5 users, and you have to test it whether the application is working fine or not. So once that is done, they say that yes, it is working fine for all the 5 users. This means that the UAT is done, which we also say is that user acceptance testing. Once that is done, then you can deploy the application to the production, where we will deploy to whatever the list they have provided to deploy the application to the more than 5 users, or whatever the users who want to use that application. So this is how we have to do. Once that is done, we got the pilot compliance, we got the production compliance, whatever, if it is 80% of compliance or whatever, then the SCCM team will close the ticket, or however the flow goes on for your organization. But this is the overall process that every organization mostly they follow it to create an application or to deliver the application. Now please, you people, if you have any question, then please go ahead. Hemant, Amit, any
No,
question?
no, all good from my side.
So does the flow goes on like this in your organization, or it is different?
Yeah, it is same, like almost same.
Okay, so no question here.
As if now it's all fine.
Okay, so let me show you the PRF file. So this is how it looks like, package request form. So mainly when a person is submitting a ticket via service now, so few organization has done the mandate thing that until unless they fill this PRF, they cannot submit the request. Because obviously as a packager, you cannot go and keep on asking to fill it, because the ticket has come to your queue, the SLA gets started. So just to avoid that, the SLA part and the number of ticket in your queue, so they have done the mandate. So the service now team who has developed this, so they will, what they will do, they will mandate it in a such a way that a person who is submitting the ticket, they have to fill this PRF if it is via service now. Okay, so they have to fill all this detail. Yeah, sometimes it happens that user are not aware of how they have to fill it, because every user doesn't have that much of knowledge to do it. Then in that case, they can come to you, they can ask for your help, that please help us how you are going to do it. And obviously you will having the information, because you will be seeing the n number of PRF every day. So then in that case you can help them. But sometimes it also happens that user fills it, but they do not fill it in a proper way. Then again you have to do the follow up, you have to tell them that you require this information or that information, and then you can start your packaging activity. So the document is used to request the packager to package a given Windows client application based on the given requirements by the application owner. So they have to provide their name, their address, their number, their location, their business unit. Then is the application vendor name, product name, version number, short description, language. So if I say about all this, let me give you an example. So the application is a FileZilla client. Okay, so the application name is the client here. So let me fill you and show you. So first is the application vendor name. So vendor will be the FileZilla. Then product name. Product name is only client here. Then version number. So this is the version. Then short description, like for what purpose this application is getting used, why this is required. So they have to tell a small thing, like for Google Chrome we can say that it is for browsing it, so they can give that information that why it is required. Then is the application language. So we have a different languages for different application, because we know that we are working globally, so we can have a different types of language. For example, for this application we have given en. So en stands for English. So it can be any language. If it is for Netherlands, it is dl. So region wise we have a different uh, l- s- we can say version of an language. So that language they have to provide that they want it in which language. So accordingly, if you create that application now, so obviously a person who is sitting in Netherlands, they will have a different type of their system way. It will be a Netherlands language installed. So if you give a Netherlands, then their application will show that language only when they are installing it, when they are using it. Like for we are having an English one, so they will have it in a Netherlands language, they will have in a Japanese language. And then is the ML stands for multiple. So how the ML works. So ML works in such a way that like my like let's take an example that we have a 5 users, and all the 5 users are having a different set of language installed in their machine. For first person it is English, for other person it is Japanese, for other it is Finland. So if you give an ML, then in that case, depending upon their language, depending upon how their language is installed, the application will automatically install in that language. Like for us it is English, then it will get installed in English. And for the other person it is Netherlands, it will get installed in their Netherlands language. Just that you have to give ML, but that will be again defined by your should be defined by your organization, and they have to specify it here. So if it is English, then they will select this option. If it is not English, then they can select other option, and then they can mentioned it, whatever it is. If it is Netherlands, they can give DL. If it is multiple, they can give multiple. So that is how the language goes on. So basically this is the standard of any application. When we are installing the application, it is a manufacturer name, application, let me write it, manufacturer name, then application name, then version, then architecture. So this is again an optional part. In few organization they do not specify the architecture, but in few organization we also have a tab where they give the architecture, whether it is a 32 or it is a 64. Then is the language. Then is the release version. R0 is a release version. So again it goes in a different way. Somewhere it can be like if we have R01, it can be P01 or P00. But why this is important? Let me explain you that first. P00. So basically, the release version will be beginning from the R00. So R00 means for the same version of application you have packaged it for the first time. Let's take an example that you have packaged the application, you have delivered it to the user, and then after few months or after few days, some issue comes with that application, and users say that this application is getting installed fine, but I need to copy this file particular to this location, or I want to have a, shortcut in another location. Anything, any minor customization, they will tell you to do it. In that case you have to update the release version, because that release version is already gone to the production. So the production application you cannot modify it. In that case you can modify it, and you can have a release version increase to one level. So it can be R01. So it happens sometimes that, not not all the times, but it happens that you have to do it, do the minor modification. It can be one time, two times, three times, not more than that. But yes, we have worked that it has happened that two to three times we have to do the minor modification, the application has moved to production. And this happens sometimes when the user is not much sure about the application, that how it is going to work. Then in that way they come and they tell you that we have to do the minor modification. Then you can increase the release version, but you cannot modify the version which is already moved to production. If it is not moved to production, then it is fine, you can modify it. But if it is moved to production, then you have to increase the release version. Then comes the different way. In different organization, another thing I'm telling you, this is something physical or manual. So it works that in few organization it happens that uh, they also do the physical and manual part. So when we talk about manual, there are some application which you cannot package. If I say you cannot package, it can be multiple reasons again. One of the reasons can be like it is you are not able to test the application the way it should be tested in your environment, because uh, it, it is different. The other way it can be, it has a hardware requirement. The third, it can be the size is very huge. If I say the size is very huge, it can be 10 GB or more than 15 GB, which cannot be done, which cannot be packaged. Then sometimes it happens that even if you are trying to install the application, it is not installing via silent mode. The pop-ups are coming, there is no silent installation, there is no way to capture it. uh, n number of reasons it can happen. Then in that case, with the strong reason, you have to tell that it cannot be packaged, and we are going to create a manual application. So when you create a manual application, there will be a simple document where you have to follow the steps, you have to give the steps, so that the service desk or the local manager who is there for that particular location, they can follow your document and they can install that application for that users. So in that case, excuse me, we give M to identify that it is a manual application, and for the other application we give P, which means that it is a physical application. So same way, if you are doing it for the twice two times, then you can give it P01. You can increase the version, release version. Same way for manual, if you are doing it for the second time, again you are modifying the document for any number of reasons, then you can give M01. So this is how this goes on. And then is the package source type. Yes, this is the important part, because we have to see that what type of source file is provided by the vendor. So we have basically three types. As here it is described as MSI and non-MSI. First, I will tell you what type of source file are there for Windows. First is exe, which we called as legacy setup. Then we have MSI, which we say as Windows installer. And then we have a loose files. But mostly you will see this too. Loose files are very rare, but obviously this also comes. So I am telling you all three people. I will explain um, in a more detailed way about the advantage, disadvantage of EXE or MSI, because mainly we have to work in this too. This is what is application packaging about. How it looks like, I will show you first that. So if I talk about, this is the EXE application for FileZilla. This is the Power BI desktop for EXE. This is the source file is EXE. This is again an MSI, Power BI desktop MSI source file. This is the loose file. If you see here, this is for shortcut, this is not the exe application. So the source file should be such way that if you are clicking, if you are installing that application by launch, it should give you a files and folders in particular one location and shortcut. But this one, pack 2021, this application is something like, if you get it from the vendor side, you will get it in this way only. It doesn't have the main exe, or it doesn't have the main MSI. This, if I click on, it will launch the shortcut. So this is not the application, not the source file which is installing. So this is something different. See, it has already launched the shortcut. It is not going to install the application. So this is known as the loose files. So here you have to define whether the requester has to define whether they are providing you the exe file or they are providing you the loose file. If they are providing you exe and loose file, then they have to click on non-MSI. And if they are providing the MSI file, then they have to click on MSI. Then is the installation document or screenshot provided. They have to give you the screenshot of how the application is going to install manually. Then is the target environment Windows or Citrix. We have a Citrix environment also. So that is what they are asking, whether because sometimes it happens that application gets used to Windows environment also, to Citrix app environment also, and the Windows environment application only works in the Citrix environment. Sometimes it works, some for some application it does not work. So in that case you can test it in the Citrix environment, or you can ask the Citrix team to install it and to check whether it is installing or not. So that is how this PRF was designed. If it is, if you don't, if your environment doesn't have a Citrix, then we can remove this Citrix part. There is the file type associations. If there is something which is related to the file type association, then they will provide you that information. Then is the application type. Yes, this is also something important. Upgrade or new application. So what does mean upgrade and new application? So let's take an example of Google Chrome application. So Google Chrome application is obviously there in every environment. So it is coming every month. So in that case, this means that every month we are upgrading as per the version released by the vendor. So in that case we have to upgrade. So in, if a requester is giving you an upgrading thing, so they have to click on the upgrade. If I talk about new application, this means that that application is does not exist in the environment, and completely new way you have to introduce that. For an example, pack 2021, that is not there in your organization and you have to introduce that. So that is a complete new application which is not there in your software center, it is not there in your software center portal. In that case, the requester can click on the new application. Then is the software dependencies, if the application has any prerequisites or not, if the application exists with other version or not. So they have to provide you all that information. If there is any prerequisite, they have to tell you which prerequisite and what is the version and the name, and that should exist in your environment, because you cannot package the prerequisite. If they want prerequisite also which is not there in your environment, then they have to request for two different requests, one for the prerequisite and one for the other application. Should application coexist with other version? So if you see that like Google Chrome, if you install the upgraded version of the Chrome, it automatically uninstall the lower version. So for few application the co version doesn't exist, it will automatically uninstall the other version, or it will not allow you to install the updated version until and unless you uninstall the older version. So it depends upon the how the application is developed by the vendor. In that way we have to manage that application. If the application is automatically uninstalling, then it is good enough. You don't have to uninstall it by yours, you don't have to means like put the script for the uninstallation of the older version. But if it is not in uninstalling, then you have to give in the script, like first you have to uninstall the older version and then you have to install it. Co version existing for the Windows OS application is not possible, because it will collapse the system. This can happen for AppV application, because AppV application works in a different way. You can have a two version of Notepad installed in your virtual environment, like Notepad version 1, Notepad version 2. two two different version of same application can exist in virtual but not in physical. If you see in your environment also, you will not see any application which will have same version. That is not possible, it will not allow only. Should previous version be uninstalled? Yes or no? They have to say that previous version has to be uninstalled or not. It has to be decommissioned from the environment or not, because mostly in the organization they do not follow to keep multiple version of the same application. So what they do, they decommission the older version and then they introduce the new version. So that information has to be provided. Backend or front end dependencies. So if there is any connectivity required, any database connectivity or any server connectivity, if that is there, which is the rare thing, then they have to mention that. Any hardware requirement? Yes. So few applications are such which has a hardware requirement. So in that case they have to give, because it can be either a PC, either a local printer, or a dongle they have to give, or USB connectivity is required. In that case you cannot test such application. You can package it and you can give it, but that testing has to be done by the local manager who is there in that particular site. Because hardware requirement application, mostly if there are many hardware requirement, we don't package it only. We say that that is not possible, you can do the manual installation. The local manager will ITM local engineer will come, they will do the installation and they will only do everything. You cannot do it. But if there is a few hardware requirement which is not very huge size, then in that case you can package it. Then is the connectivity. We have to see if there is any driving mappings required or not. So if I say about driving mappings, again it will be some drive, like we have a C drive or D drive, we have I drive. So it can be any number of drives created in particular that organization, and if mapping of that to driving is required or not, like connectivity of drive I to connectivity of E. This is very rare I'm talking, but yes, this is something when you have to create a PRF, you have to mention all the standard thing. So that is why everything is mentioned here. Support software updates. Yes. um, So this is basically, if you see that, like a, for an example, I'm taking Chrome application only. So if you click on Chrome, you go to settings, you will see the option of update, and if you click on update, the application will automatically get updated to the latest version. But as per the standard, in most of the company, I'll say 90% of the company, they suppress that update. They do not allow the customer to do it. First of all, that requires an admin right for few applications. Even if for few application it does not require it's like admin rights to update it, but still we suppress it, because being a SCCM guys, we cannot manage huge number of application in our environment, because we have to meet the compliance, we have to limit the number of version of that particular application. So this is, I can say, one of the standard, that we should suppress the automatic updates. And we have to find how we, every application has different way to suppress it. It can be either suppressed through a registry, it can be either suppressed through the uh, exe file. There will be, sometimes it happens that there will be an exe file to suppress that application automatic update. So we have to see, we have to find that being a packager, and we have to give it that thing in our script. So that is what is the automatic update. In few organization, they do not suppress it, so in that case you don't have to worry about it, you can do it. Then is the client server application. If application has something related to the server, then they have to give the IP address and port and all that credential and all that, and then you have to fetch that information in your application. Is the connection required during package request creation, yes or not? Like if the connection is required, like for mappings or the client server thing, then you can give that information. Then is the license details. So license, again, it depends upon n number of ways. There can be n number of ways of license. You can see that here it is defined. So any license information, first of all they have to provide that. If there is address related to that, then they have to specify here. Now if I talk about the type of license, first of all, few applications which do not have a license, few applications which do not require any license to be installed. Then the third way, which consists of license, then it is per user per machine enterprise license. So I'll explain this. There will be a common license, like let's take an example XYZ. This license, mainly if I talk about Adobe Acrobat, it has a enterprise license. We call it as a enterprise license, or you can say common license. So this enterprise license, a company has to purchase for their organization, and this same enterprise license can be used by n number of users, by all the users in their organization. So that is known as enterprise license. Then is the user license. If it is a user license, this means that it is unique. It is unique for all the users in that particular organization. So a person has to, you will not, if it is a unique license, you cannot put it in your application. But if it is an enterprise license, obviously you can put that information, license information, in your application, and the user will be able to use the application without any issues or without inserting by themselves. But if it is a user license, because it is unique, user will install the application, they will ask for the license information from their manager or from their team PMO or whatever, and they have to give that license information. Unique license it is, as it is, so they have to drop a mail with their unique license, they have to launch the application, and at the end they will ask that you have to give your license information. So they have to insert their license information, and then they will be able to use it. So that is known as user license. Then is the machine license. So if I say it as a user license, this means that only one user can use it, not more than that. If I say about machine license, this means that in a single machine we can have n number of users sitting. So again, that will be specific to one device. One device, one license for one device, but n number of users can use. N number of users in the sense, n number of users can use, but only in that device. If they are like in if they are in different shift, one people is coming to one shift, other people is coming to other shift, then they can use it. So I can tell you for an example, admin studio. So admin studio is something which what we do, we install it in one of our test VMs. And uh, because it has a huge cost, admin studio has a huge cost, so we install it in one system, a packager. Like for example, I have to do the packaging, I will do it, and then I will close it. Then Hemant wants it, Hemant will use it. Then Amit wants it, Amit can use it, but only logging into that system. So that is known as a device based license. We can also say device based license, or we can say that machine based license. So n number of users can use, but single on that device. It cannot be shared. So that is what the license information has to be provided.
So I have one question.
Yeah, please go
Like
ahead.
in enterprise license, you said that while packaging this license, like license information is not required to put in app, right? In enterprise license, like if we have an
uh,
Adobe while
can you
packaging.
repeat again?
Like you told us that about the enterprise
Mm-hmm.
license. So if it's an enterprise license, then all users can use that specific application while
Hmm.
using their machine, right? And this enterprise license is like this information we need to put in application itself while packaging.
Yes, yes, right, right, right.
And if I talk about user license or machine license, then user license I can
User
understand
has
that.
to give both user and machine, both they have to give it by themselves. Like if it is device also, so if that device is shared by like I said for admin studio, so how
Mhm.
we get it, we get that license information separate in our mail, we install it, we insert it. Only once you have to insert it, and whoever wants to use that machine, but one by one. It is not like because we do it in the test VM, so a single person, when they have completed their work, then only the other user can do it, use
So
that. Hmm.
my main question was like enterprise license we have to add in application
Hmm.
itself while packaging. But if I talk about user license and machine license, this we do
We
not
cannot.
add in application while packaging, right?
Yes, right.
Okay, thank you.
uh yeah, then it is the executable source name. You have to give the name of the source file, like filezilla.exe, you can give that name here. And then location, it can be any server location where they have to upload that source file. Then is the additional configuration information. So any application can have the pre-installation and post-installation. So if I talk about pre-installation or post-installation, like let's take an example, like we have a Google Chrome application. we have we are not able to completely we are not able to upgrade that application. So in that case, in the pre-installation steps, we have to first give the uninstallation of the older version, and then we have to give the installation. Same with the post installation configuration, means that you have installed the application, and let's take in the second step, you have to either add any file, or you have to create your standard, like we have to create a standard registry path for our organization name, that this application exists with this particular name. So that registry file you can add it, or anything like addition of shortcut as per different location, or addition of any file. So any type of post installation configuration also you can add it. There is the permission to particular folders, registries and files. So for few applications, a particular user who is using that thing, they do not have a full permission. You get a logo of that administrator part, that you require an admin access uh, to go to that particular file or folder. So in that case, a admin user can go it because they have an admin rights, but a normal user who do not have a permission to that particular file or folder, they wouldn't be able to do it. So how you are going to do it then? Then you can provide the full permission. So there is a way, there is a multiple way through which you can provide a permission to the files and folders. So that way you can give the permission to that particular files and folder, and then normal user would be also able to use it. So this is all what is the customizing part. So there are many different ways of customizing when we are creating a script. So this is something like you have to give the command in the script and the user will have the permission to that particular folder or files. Then the access required, like what type of permission is required: full permission, read permission, write permission, modify. So that type of permission you have to mention, the requester has to mention. Reboot required, yes or no. So mostly as per the default thing, or we can say standard, we have to suppress the reboot. Even if like few applications are something that after installation it automatically goes for a reboot, so in that case you as a packager have to suppress it. So there is a certain properties in the MSI also, and for the particular exe also, through which you can suppress the reboot. So there is a command, small types of command or properties which you have to add it when you are creating an application, and then you would be able to suppress it. There is the additional comments, whatever, if they want to give the additional comments, any instruction or anything they can provide. Screenshot of the installation routine, that they have to give it here, full screenshot of the applications. See, here it is mentioned, source capture all the installation steps here. Then they, at the end, they have to give the signature of whatever, they have to give their details, they have to give their date and signature. That's all. They have to give it in the PRF. Again, you can customize the PRF as per your organization standard, whatever things you can add or modify it. So that is all about the PRF part. Any question, please go ahead.
I have a question. Like in PRF, you have shown one drive mapping. So why this drive mapping is used? Like why organization make a drive mapping?
See, sometimes it happens like you are using the application for, let's take an example, you have it in the C drive, okay, and you don't want, you want the content in the D drive also, or you are not able to use that particular drive in your test VM when you are doing a packaging part. So in that case they want that mapping part, that the content of C should come automatically to do D. You don't have to go to that particular machine and you have to get copy that content. So in that case drive mapping is required, but that is very rare. Like I have not
Yes.
seen in any of the
Yeah.
application as of now that we have been doing the drive mapping part.
It is used in my organization. That's the reason I'm asking this question.
Okay,
Like in my organization, there is one application which is called, it's a collection of application. Like they have named as in PCOM. In PCOM, there are
ecom.
eight, there are altogether I think 8 or 10 applications. So there is the source,
Oh,
all the source file is present on iDrive. So once we trigger the installation from Software Center, it will collect all the file from the iDrive. So
so
if
that
that
can
is,
be the reason why, because I'll tell you, the size of the application is very huge.
yeah, it might be because there are 8 or 9
Yeah,
applications. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So it can be a reason that obviously if you go to the C drive, mostly the applications get installed in the C. You, if you are installing it in the D drive, E drive, or any other drive, now you cannot means like what to say, you cannot use the application in that way, because all the applications are designed in such a way that you cannot install in the other directory. So obviously the C drive will be full and the users want to use the application, so they would have done the mapping from C drive to I drive,
Mm.
so
Yeah,
that
might.
they can use the application. It would be installing somewhere they would have given the server location where it would be installing in the C drive, because if you change the location of any application now, it will not behave properly for most of the applications, saying it will not behave. So they would have done the mapping from C to I drive so that they can use all the, as you're saying, 8 to 9 applications, so they would be using all the applications.
Yes, might.
Any other questions? Should I continue for 10 to 15 minutes more?
Yeah.
Not more than that. I'll take only 10 to 15 minutes. I just wanted to explain you the complexity of the application, how we have to define. So let me first explain in a simple language. So the application comes to our queue. Okay. So in that case, it we have to define the complexity, because every application has a different SLA. So you cannot say that one package you will package it in 3 days, other you will package it in 5 days. So you have to define the complexity. So there are three complexity: simple, medium, complex. So again, as per the complexity, every organization has set the standard. For an example, for simple it is 1 to 3 days. I'm i'm not saying this is what is basically defined. It differs as per the organization to organization, it differs, but mostly it should be like this only. For medium, 3 to 5 days. For complex, 5 to 10 days. So this means that for any application, you have to obviously, who will first come to know that whether the application is simple, medium, or complex? You are the one packager. When you are doing the smoke testing, you have to identify that application will fall into which category, whether it is a simple, whether it is a medium, or it is a complex. You have to see that. So accordingly, as per the thing, you have to mention in the request that this is the simple application, and you have to follow that SLA, that we have to complete this application within 3 days. So now, if I say 3 days, it depends how, whether your organization is saying you to complete the packaging part in 3 days or the overall part in 3 days. So this differs in different organization. In some organization, they say you can take a time of 1 to 3 days and you can package it in 3 days, and then you can give it to the SCCM team, and the SCCM team will do the rest of the work. But in for organization, they say that in 3 days you have to, if you are also doing the deployment part, they will tell you you have to complete it in the 3 days, everything from packaging, from deployment, and everything. So that you have to see that how it goes in your organization, and accordingly you can follow this. But how you are going to define the complexity, how you will come to know whether that application is simple, medium, or complex? So this is the way. Yeah. So this is how it goes. Simple. These are the factors: media size, customization, pre-post configuration, auto update suppression, dependency, silent install, ICE error resolving. So the factor is in the such a way that if the media size is less than 300 MB, then it falls into a simple application. Customization, only simple customization, like removing the uninstall button, or removing the repair button. So that is called as simple customization. Pre and post configuration, there should be the steps, number of steps should not be more than 1 to 3. Auto update suppression, yes or no, that doesn't depend upon the complexity. It just that if it is yes, yes, no, if it is no. Dependencies, the application can have basically one or two dependencies, not more than that. Silent install, yes, the application shouldn't be should be getting installed silently. um, I will explain this because this will be something which I will cover tomorrow, that what does mean silent install, and just that as of now you can understand that silent installation should be yes. So if I see in the more detailed way, if the provided source is vendor MSI, it does not require any additional effort to tweak the application for silent install scope. So this means that we get an MSI application and it should get automatically installation of silent. So it shouldn't be like you should be getting a problem that you are not able to find the silent keys. ICE error resolving, there are many number of ICE errors when we do the MSI packaging. So that you have to resolve. If it is warning, you can ignore, but if it is error, then we have to resolve it. So that is what is the ICE error. Same now it is for medium. Obviously, if it is a medium application, it is going to be huge. Few things will be getting at. First is the media size. It shouldn't be more than 1 GB. It can be up to 1 GB, not more than that. Customization required, obviously yes, there will be customization, there will be script. Pre-post configuration, not more than 1 to 8 steps. Auto update suppression, yes. Dependencies, it can have 1 to 5 dependencies. Mixture of legacy and vendor MSI. If I say mixture of legacy and Windows vendor MSI means n- few applications are such which can have exe also and which can have MSI also. So that is what they are saying, that it can be a combination. Multiple MSIs, yes. So it happens that some application you got an exe and they are giving you a multiple MSI. So in that case now you have to create a mirror image of that MSI. So that will be also multiple. So they are saying it can be n number of MSI, but here they have defined that for medium application it should not be more than 4. Then is the ODBC services device drivers. If the application has ODBC requirement or they have a services, they have a device or drivers or any type of connectivity, then that shouldn't be more than 4. Then is the shims. Shims is something related to permission. Like few application you are giving permission but still it doesn't work, then in that case you have to create a shim. So that is for the thing. I will cover this thing. This is again another topic to be covered, but this will be done I think in the fourth or fifth day. I will cover this sims, that how you can create it, through which tool. It is free of cost, this tool is there, and you can create the sims. Then upgrade logic, yes. Permission to files and folders registry, yes. Add-in applications, there are few add-in application, like we have a Excel add-in application. So that type of application will be coming to the medium. Then ICE error resolving 1 to 60, not more than 60 ICE error.
What is ICE error?
ICE error is basically, it is a internal consistency error. If I define it, it is basically when we are capturing the application. In that case, when you capture it, it gets, it means like it capture junk also. So in that case, you have to remove that junk, because more and more number of junk is coming to your application, the application size is getting increased, and that shouldn't be there. So in that case there are many ways that you have, there is, it is with a number like ICE 23, ICE 18. Different ICE errors have different ways to resolve it. So as per the organization standard, there shouldn't be any ICE errors. If the errors are there in the ICE error, most of the time the application will not get installed. And most of the time it does get installed, but as per the standard it should not get, it should not means like you have to remove all the errors. It can have errors, it can have warnings also. Warnings you can ignore, but errors you cannot ignore. Types of error, if I say that what types of errors will be there, um, like it is basically related to packaging. So it is something like number of folders got created double, number of files got created double, shortcut is not getting advertised, shortcut is unadvertised, the component is created double. So this is something related to the structure of the MSI which happens. So this you will understand once I will explain you the technical part of the packaging. Now then you will come to know when you will see it actually that how it goes. So like language, I am saying if it is English language and they have captured any other language, because you have captured that application in your machine, so it would have captured something else, then that you have to manually modify it going to that place. So that is what is ICE errors. And see, it is not so difficult. Some ICE errors are difficult, but you have the solution of all the ICE errors in the Google. So it is not something that you have to remember all the ICE errors. There are few ICE errors which is important, which I will tell you, that obviously you should know that thing. But uh, it is not that every 60 ICE errors or every 180 ICE errors you have to remember. That is not possible for any packager to remember, because there are many ICE errors. So only the few ICE errors which we get on a daily basis, that when you are doing the packaging you will come to know and you will remember, because every time you get same type of ICE errors and you would be able to resolve it. And that gives you the reason also. When we are doing it now, they tell you the reason. When we are getting the ICE errors, they show you that the component ID is created, the component ID is not to the proper location. So they will tell you how, they will give you the small thing, and then you have to identify and you have to resolve it. In the complex, again, it is saying that the media size is up to 4 GB, but this part depends completely upon your organization, because we have also worked on the application which has more than 10 GB size. Obviously for such application we ask for the special time, because that is not possible to do it in the 10 days, because that requires a lot of time for testing, for uninstalling and all that. So if an application is having huge number of size, then you have to see that how your organization is following what type of thing, and then accordingly you can categorize that complex and you can take that number of SLA. I think for mostly such application we do not follow the SLA. We ask for special discount for that such type of application, that yeah, obviously we are going to know that the SLA will breach for that application. So we take the client confirmation over the mail and we ask for like you should not count it as a S, means like in one of the SLA application. Then obviously if it is complex, it will have a lot of customization, it will have lot of pre-post configuration and all that. So this is all it has been mentioned here: pre-post configuration 1 to 12 steps, auto update suppression, yes, dependencies 1 to 8, mixture of legacy and vendor MSI, yes, multiple MSI, it can have 8 numbers. Same way for ODBC services, device drivers also. Shims, yes. Upgrade logic, yes. Permission, yes. Add in application, it can have up to 6. Then ICE error up to 150. So that is about the complexity of application. Any question, please go ahead and ask. For today, we will bind up. Any confusion, any question which you think that we are not able to understand, or anything which you have not understood, please you go ask.
I have a
Yes,
question.
yes, Hemant.
Yeah, you have told us about this complexity of app, simple, medium,
Hmm.
and complex.
Hmm.
So, like you have shown us this PPT as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
this packager is going to define that this is a simple application or medium or complex, or the person who provides the source file, all the information he is going to.
No, it has to be defined by a packager, not by the person who is giving you the request. It is you. And it is not something that you think that okay, I will say it is a medium, and the other person in your team will not see it. So you have to provide the proper information, because obviously the person who is doing the QA, they will also see whether you have specified the complexity in a nice way or not, because you are taking that number of days to complete it. You are understanding, because this is something huge that you are working in one application for 5 days or for 3 days. So, like, do your company also have such type of, I think HCL have this type of complexity standard.
Yeah, of course it has, like because
Mm.
even I get a chance to make some reports for the
Mm-hmm.
client and for the SCL management as well. So I made a lot of reports. I sent like compliance report of SCCM as well as the packaging reports as well. So the packaging
Mm-hmm.
data I get from the packages, and they
Mm-hmm.
provide all the graphs and data. But there I have seen that, like if I talk about my process, monthly they are packaging approximately 20 applications approximately. So
Okay.
they give the data like simple application are five, medium are six, complex are two. Like in this way, every month they provide the data, and then
Mm-hmm.
that data is shared to the SEAL management and to the client as well. So I've found
Okay.
these all graphs. So whatever you're telling me, I can correlate everything
Mm-hmm.
uh, with my process. So that's why I've asked this question: that who
Okay.
defines the simple, medium, complex, these things? Because packaging also they also provide the data every month what they are doing, what kind
Because
of
they get a
applications they are
score according to the complexity also, na, that it is something like how it goes basically in the HCL, I know, because they follow the factory model, so they define it in such a way. uh, Give me, just let me stop recording it, because just we are going to
sure.
discuss.